to In the Ring with Termite and Mr. S. And Mr. S, we've got a great one today.
We do. We have Reggie Johnson, three-time world champion. Not only is he a three-time world champion, he's the first world champion from Houston for any sport. So we're obviously...
That's baseball, that's football,
every
that's
single
boxing.
sport. He is the first to put Houston on the map with a world champion title. So we're excited to have him here today. Now, Reggie, there was something you were just telling me about a gentleman that you were related to. Was it in Galveston?
Well, when my father died in 2003, I flew my grandmother in from Tucson, Arizona. She was 91 at the time. She passed when she was 99. But we're sitting at the table at my home, and we started talking. I don't know how we got on boxing, but then she told me about my grandfather, her husband, who died when I was almost 2 years old. And then she started telling me about how, he was a boxer. And she didn't want him boxing, but he stuck with it and kept doing it. And then that's when she told me that he was related to D. Jack Johnson, the first African.
The one and only Jack Johnson.
The one and only Jack Johnson. And, man, I'm like, so boxing is always has been in
You
my
got royal blood running through your veins. Boxing.
Yeah.
This is such a big story on Jack Johnson. Sylvester, I don't even know if you know this, Sylvester Stallone just did, a year ago, a movie on Jack Johnson that should be coming out.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that. I've seen that.
So it's a big story.
Yeah, big story.
It's a big story.
We've got lots of good stories.
Yeah.
Obviously the boxing, y'all two have known each other forever. And for people who don't know, you are this world champion. And this show is going to be talking about how did you get there? Like, what are the things you got to do? And we've got tons of stories with different famous people he's worked on.
Oh, he has worked with so many famous people and so many top world-class athletes, and but I think we should go back to how you got started, because what we do in the ring, we like to tell the ups and downs and where people come from and the things that we've had to overcome. I know for a fact that Reggie Johnson has had to overcome many things. And so let's go back a little bit in your history, because there's a certain part of it I love to hear. But anyway, go back to how you got started boxing.
Well, my late uncle, Kenneth Ironman Walker, who was from Fifth Ward, everybody know about the hood of Houston, Texas, Fifth Ward. He started boxing at the Salvation Army Boys Club, met the head coach, the late Mr. James Carter. And then one day he took me to the gym with him, and man, they put me in the ring with a kid that had 30-some amateur fights. And to fast forward this, I did 3 rounds, and I can only remember getting out the ring, they taking the headgear off and the gloves, and the late Mr. James Carter, who became my white daddy, that's what everybody called him.
Yeah.
You knew Mr. Carter.
That's right, great man.
He said, "Young man, don't you know you can become champion of the world?" I'm like, yeah, take it. But when that man said that, of course he was right if you fast forward, but I just remember him taking them gloves and headgear off, telling me that, and I held on to that.
It stuck in your head.
Yes, but keep in mind, I played football, basketball, I did the wrestling, soccer, I did everything, baseball, but that day I got in that ring, and to hear him say that was it.
It stuck with you.
I knew what I wanted to.
Okay, you missed a part. You missed a real important part.
Okay, what's the?
Who did you go to see that first day in the gym when you won? You seen this little?
I know this story.
This little white guy that.
Oh. This is you're right. This is where it all started. But no, I was on point though. I was gonna get to that.
You didn't get there yet.
No. But check this out. So when I started boxing, then I was telling some guys in the hood where I was from, Fifth Ward, about me boxing. They saw me had the gloves around my neck, and I said, "I'm going to." And this guy told me, he said, "What, you boxing now?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, you need to go meet Termite Watkins. He trained downtown at the gym downtown." And he's telling me about Termite and the history and who he was. And sure enough, I raised a little money, got on that bus, and I went down there to see Termite. And I remember I took my bag with my stuff because I wanted to train, and I went there probably about 3 or 4 times before I did it. And that 4th time,
You scouted it out.
Yeah,
took time.
yeah. And I saw Termite. I just kept. I didn't really say nothing to him. I said, "How you doing, Mr. Watkins?" And he's training. And I remember that I think it was the 3rd or 4th day. I put my stuff on and I started shadow boxing, doing in the ring with them, and didn't nobody say that. I'm like,
I got away with it.
I'm in, but I got, I was. Me and him connected. We started talking to him, and he saw something in me, just from me in the ring, just shadow boxing. He like, he knew.
Now put the ages.
We
to
became
this.
real close.
Put the ages on this, just for the.
There's 10 years difference.
Okay.
Right, and I had to be 12 then. Yeah, that was 12.
Yeah.
12,
So I was
13.
probably 22, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he watched my brother. My brother was there.
Oh, that's a good story too. Yeah, his
Yeah,
brother.
you go ahead and tell it. You tell it
His-
better than I do.
Now that guy in the hood who told me to go down and get in touch and meet Termite, and he told me, he said, "Now you got a brother named Billy. He's a good fighter too, but I'm telling you, you need to watch Termite." He said because his brother Billy, he's a slugger. He's all out. He said he'll take 10 punches to get his one in, and he was right because he was a slugger, man, and his record speaks for itself. Billy, just like Termite record, just like my record. Hey, the record speaks for itself, and if you look at Billy's record now, I think he only lost 3 fights. He was 65-3 or something like that.
Yeah, he
A lot of knockouts.
Yeah, he had 90% knockouts.
Yeah, 90% knockouts.
90%.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And what made him retire, and we won't go into it, but he was fighting Tony Sanchez. Remember that?
Oh, I remember Tony Sanchez.
And Tony Sanchez was from Mexico and had used to be my dad's fighter. And anyway, they're fighting and he busted my brother's eye and it just swole shut. It looked like it was like a cantaloupe in his eye. It was so big, and that retired my brother. But let's go back to you. So I saw something in this young man that you just knew there would be greatness. And from the time he walked in the gym, and he had this burning desire, but he learned, he listened. Now this man is incredible about listening. If you ever just watch him when he's talking or when somebody else is talking, he'll listen. And he did this in the gym, and he learned quick. And then he went on up to win nationals. The things that I did, he did it too. He come behind me, won nationals.
JO nationals. Then you have the, like when you fight it around the city, Houston, like the Golden
the
Gloves,
regional,
the
Golden
regionals,
Gloves,
and then you have the
state.
nationals. And at the age of 16, this is a good story right here because, like I told you, I grew up fast. At 14, I had a job at Kroger's, helping my mother pay bills and taking care of my 2 sisters.
You're 14.
Yeah.
You're going in early.
But so I was working there, and I think I just turned 16, and I had a problem with one of the guys at Kroger's right there on Titwell in 59, and the co-manager, me and this guy, the way he was talking to me, and one day I had clocked out, and I'm looking at the thing to see when I come back to work, and that crazy co-manager, he said, "Reggie, I need you to do it." I said, "Well, I already clocked out." And he used cuss words. "Do it." I say, "Excuse me?" Next thing you know, man, I done hit this dude with a 14
Next
piece.
thing you know.
He's out, blood everywhere, and I run all the way home. To make a long story short, but Mr. Callahan was the main manager, and he worked with Mr. Carter to make sure Reggie be off if he's going to be fighting. But anyway, we had a meeting, and at the end of the day, Mr. What's said, "I'd like to put this behind you, Reggie. Reggie, you're going to be a champion. You can't just be fighting for free and putting your hands
Fighting
on,
for free.
hitting
One
people,
way to
this
put
and
it.
that." And then he told the guy, he looked at the guy, he said, "Now listen, all the people working here, he told you he clocked out. Why would you tell this? Why would you, He said, can we put this behind us and move forward?" And I'm looking at him, we were looking at each other, so we did. But I'm still watching this guy, the way he talk and handle people. And I went to go find Mr. Callahan, and he was in the fruit section. I said, "Mr. Callahan, can I talk?" He said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I said, "No, it's good."
What else we got?
Yeah, I said, no, I just want to talk to you. And then we went upstairs, and I said, "I want to thank you for letting me come back, but I can't work with this guy. I'm going to get myself in trouble." And I never forget, man, that was the longest walk home because I had to tell my mother, I'm going to have to find another job. I quit that job. And when I knocked on that door, man, my mama opened the door. My mom said, "God, what the hell you done did now? What's wrong?" I said, ain't nothing, Mama, ain't nothing wrong. I said, I had to quit that job. I said, because something is going to happen. She said, what? Oh, my God, boy, I thought you did put your hands on that man. And she said, I got something for you. My mother went in the room, came back with all this mail. And she, this is my late mother now. And she going through the mail, and she give me the mail, and it was open, and I looked at it, I said, well, Mom, boy, God, boy, I'm your mama. I can read the mail. Just read the mail. And I looked at that, it said, Reggie Johnson, boom, 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 156 pound, USA boxing team, Sweden, Germany, Denmark, Japan. I got on the USA boxing team. Flew into Colorado Springs, trained there for like about a month and a half, and then we took off to all those places I just mentioned. And it's like it was perfect timing. My whole life, you know, it's like even what happened at Kroger's, it happened for God wrote that.
Yeah.
And that's boxing had been my job since, you know, I didn't have to work at Kroger's.
It was like almost destined.
Destined. And check this out. That's another thing. And they was paying us every 2 weeks. I was making more money doing what I love to do in Colorado boxing than what I was making at Kroger's. So
Yeah, I mean, you have to do.
that was God.
You got to move forward.
How old were you when you turned pro?
I was 17.
17 years old.
So think about that. I just had, when I turned 16, I had just made the USA boxing team. I won all my international fights. Every time I represented the USA out the country, I won all those fights.
That's speaking
Sweden,
volumes.
Germany, Bangkok. I won the World Kings Cup tournament at 16, the youngest to ever win it. I don't even know if that record's been broken since, but that was in '84.
Wow.
But I won the World Kings Cup tournament in 1984, right before the Olympic trials. So, you know.
So all these achievements, those are the kind of things I want to highlight. People look at you as maybe you're just superhuman. Maybe you got something that they don't have. And that could be true, but I like to emphasize there's things within other people that they might not even know that they've got. So how do you get that fighter to rise up within you and do the things that you've done?
I want to intervene just for a second. You've had to overcome so many things in your life. He's really right. You are a natural boxer. You were incredible. But tell us some of the things that you actually had to overcome when you were young,
Well,
to get where you're at.
Well, you, coming from Fifth Ward, the hood, you had
Which
to.
is and was the
Houston is
Yeah, a lot of people that aren't from Houston, Fifth Ward is.
Everybody know about Fifth
Everybody in Houston knows, but
Yeah.
people outside of Houston is a tough neighborhood.
Yeah. Fifth Ward.
Very, very tough.
But well, one of the things that I had to overcome, what took place in Fifth Ward, what happened in the streets, you know, that's why I know I was blessed by the best when I found boxing at the age of 12, because my uncle should have been a world champion. Dennis Hitman Benjamin, you know Ben. Those are the two guys who started me, but them guys should have been world champions, but they chose the street life.
That's right. Yeah.
And man, I was so in love with boxing. I'm 56 years old today, bro.
Happy
Today?
birthday.
No, today not my
I was
birthday.
gonna
I'm talking
say,
about, I'm just
we're
saying.
missing an opportunity.
No. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. This day, I'm
Right.
56 years old. I've never had a beer in my life.
Yeah. This is something I admire about him.
So
Never done a drug, never smoked.
I like to tell people I've never smoked, did drugs, or been drunk, but I'd be lying if I tell you I wasn't drunk, because that Roy Jones 1-2 had me drunk.
Just a different kind of
Different kind of drunk. That's right. That
You don't
one-
want that kind of.
No. If you go get drunk, that's the drunk that you want, because guess what? You get paid for that.
Getting paid drunk. I never thought about that side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get paid for that. So
Reggie, all right, coming, excuse me. I know that you didn't have just a rosy life coming up. You wasn't rich. You wasn't this. How was it going from Fifth Ward to literally at a young age being, I guess you could say, rich in our terms. You know, you made big money.
Yeah, it's all relative,
And,
right?
But see, that's why whenever you use the word rich, people always talk about money. Man, I was rich. I was doing what I love to do. I was.
Yeah.
I
You're
was,
getting paid to do what you love.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Even when I wasn't getting paid the money, I was doing what I love to do. Box, seeing the world. How many people can say at 16 you done been to
Germany.
It's 7 continents. You've been to just 5 continents at the age of 16.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
That's rich in experience.
So when you talking about money, being rich, if you're not, being rich with money and being rich, doing something that you love to do, living a life. Yeah, rich in life. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah. That's a big message to all of our people out there. Rich is here.
Right.
It's not so much here.
I agree.
It's right here.
That's right.
Because, and I just love that about Reggie, because he has made a lot of money, but he's rich right here. He's got a lot of love. People love him. Got rich in stories. Okay, so I'm gonna take you back, because I know your story like a book.
Right.
But I love hearing it.
You
so,
played a big role in my story. You should know it.
So Mr. S, he come up. He was beating everybody. Who was your first world championship? Who'd you fight first?
Well, my first world title fight was James Lights Out Tony.
Okay.
I was number 1 by 2 of the sanctioning bodies and number 2 by the other one.
I made number 3. I never made number 1. I'm still mad.
And what happened, me being number 2 by 2 of the sanctioning bodies and number 2, what's his name? Mike McCallum.
Yeah.
He fought James Tony again, but he didn't pay the sanctioning fee, so they stripped him. And so that WBA belt was wide open. So whenever it's wide open, 1 and 2, I was number 2 by the WBA. James Tony was had became champion. He had beat Michael Nunn. Michael, second to none, was a great fighter, and he was supposed to been fighting me. He kept getting political buys, and he fought James Tony. And he was beating James Tony, but James Tony came back and knocked him out, I think in the 11th round. And James Tony had to fight me because I was his mandatory.
Yeah.
And that was my first world title fight. A fight till this day. I know in my heart that I won, but they gave it to him by decision. And you guys can go watch that fight.
So it should be a four-time world champion.
Yeah. And just tell me, if you think he won the fight, it was, but I had him down too in the second round.
Yeah, I think you won.
I think I'm the only guy that dropped James Tony.
So this whole show is about overcoming. You had to overcome that. Winning and it being stole from you. That's
a lot of things people don't really put emphasis enough on.
Yeah.
You almost won, and that can really defeat you. That is a true. How do you get back up from that? How do you get back from the mental side of you can get bitter.
If you go watch that James Tony fight, when those guys announced that he was the winner, I fell on the floor crying.
Yeah.
And I remember the late Manuel Chato Robles, who became my chief trainer from Mexico. He came and picked me up, and we got out of there. But for a while I was down for that, but you got to get back to work, get back to training, and it built back up. Said I'm gonna position myself to fight for it again, and next time I'm winning, and I did.
You just push yourself.
And think about this here, man. I'll never forget this, and you guys can go do this here. I think, Termite, you know about this here. When they announced the winner, that James Tony was the winner of that fight, I can only think about this. When I dropped him in the second round, they showed, I'll never forget this lady's name. She was the judge, Patricia German. She has another last name now because she's married now. When I dropped James Tony, they showed this lady hitting the thing like this. She was pissed that I dropped him.
Yeah.
And she was looking at me. Remember that I told you about? And she the one had it 115, 113. One of the judges had me winning. One of them had it even, and then she had it was a political loss. That means that she's tied in with the promoters. That's boxing.
That's boxing.
That's boxing. And but anyway, to move forward, you you get over that, get back to the gym. I started back training, and
Well, some
they
people,
left me number one by two of the Saints in the body, so I'm right in line to fight Irish Steve Collins. That was my second world title fight.
well, what I like about that story is you did, get gypped. You felt basically like you could get bitter for some of those things. And a lot of people, I think, experience that, and they might want to stop. It's like, oh, it's not worth it. It's unfair. Life's unfair. People are unfair. Why bother? And I think a lot of people stop there. And you didn't, obviously.
I think Reggie got mad.
I think
Reggie said-
I like a good, healthy anger.
Well, I talked to Mr. Carter when that happened. He was, he was still with us. And Mr. Carter said, Reggie, how many times have you been knocked down in an amateur fight and even in a pro fight? I said, it's been a few times. He said, well, you just got knocked down again. You got to get up, continue fighting.
Simple as that.
And
Simple as that.
That's what the late Mr. James Carter told me. And
What a great man.
yeah.
It's those little simple things. That's what I like to emphasize. And it's not always, don't have to be a big moment. You just got to get up.
Yeah.
So you came back. You really got knocked down. You came back.
Literally.
You won the championship. Then you get another title fight. Who did you win the second title?
Well, the second world title fight, I was in the gym training during this time with boxing. There's been time I was real busy. And then with time that I couldn't get to fight, dealing
Nobody
with the
wanted to
business.
fight
And, they don't want to fight, but then dealing with these promoters. But
The business side.
But I'll never forget Mr. Bill Benton, who owns the gym downtown Houston. I was in there still training. Got a call for Frank Tate, who I lost to in the Olympic trials, who won the gold medal in '84.
Yeah.
Got a call for him to fight the new light heavyweight champion, William Guthrie. And Frank Tate didn't want to fight him. He wouldn't fight him. And keep in mind, during that time, I was moving up to 168. And Bill Benton spoke on my behalf without even speaking with me because he know my mindset. And he told the guy, HBO guy, people, he said, well, listen, Frank won't take the fight, but I got somebody that'll fight him. And the guy said, who the hell you got's going to fight William Guthrie? Who you got, this and that? And
He was the baddest dude around.
yeah, he's undefeated. And the guy said, well, Reggie Johnson. He said, God, Reggie is a middleweight. He said, yeah, but he's getting ready to move up to 68. I think he'll take that opportunity and fight 175. And he was right. I did and became champion. Fought William Guthrie, who was
How long did it take you
25-0.
to make that transition? I mean, put your mind to it. How much training to get up to that class and take that on?
Oh, well, I mean, we did a good camp. I trained, I think I was like 2.5 months in training camp, getting
Where'd
ready,
you go to
putting on a
training
little
camp?
weight.
Tell them about
I
training camp.
I think, well, I went Big Bear, California,
Big
not
Bear.
for that particular fight. I started downtown Houston, but I ended up going to L.A. and trained in
the Big Bear.
in L.A. And but I didn't do for the Guthrie fight. We went to L.A. and then we went to Big Bear for like 4 weeks.
But that's very intentional.
Yeah,
You knew what you were getting yourself into.
He had a plan of action. Everybody out there, Reggie, if you'll notice, he set a goal. He had a plan. He followed his plan. He stuck to it. Even when he got knocked down, he got back up and got to his plan, and you overcome. So you win a second world championship. How did you win? Was it a decision? Was it a knockout? Tell me about it.
Well, let me also add this before I answer that. This is another thing that I was taught by Curtis Coates, who was the welterweight champion from Dallas. When I turned pro at 17, my mother signed my contract, and the people I signed with hired him to train me. And he was a former world champion in the 60s. But anyway, one of the things I learned from him was when you getting ready to go out there and perform fight, I mean, this is your life. This is your job. This is how you eat. This is how you feed your kids. This is how you take care of your family. This is how you take care of your community. Get away. And for that Guthrie fight, I left, went to California, started training there. I think the last 4 weeks we went up to Big Bear. I've always, for the big fights that I've had, the world title fights, I've always got away from kids, got away from mama, daddy, family,
Focus.
friends.
Focus.
Yeah. Because I think about it. Get away from the pretty women. I haven't met one pretty woman throw a punch for me or fought for me. you remember the Rocky movie?
Uh-huh.
You remember when Mr. T was beating Rocky?
Right.
And they put the camera on the right. She's talking about, stop the fight! And this one comedian was talking about that, and he said, well, you should have stopped giving him what you gave him. But you get my point, man. You got man. I was always, and I was taught that about you got to be focused on the fight, man. Hey, man, my teeth.
That applies to everything.
Yeah. My teeth are on display. I can lose my teeth. My health. I mean, you got to boxing, man. It's if you think about it, a lot of fighters you can look at Termite. You can understand everything he's saying. You can understand it, but they got a lot of fighters out there. Man, you like when Ali now, what he did to Joe Frazier. I love Ali, man, but he was wrong. But there are fighters you can't understand.
Yeah.
Taking the punishment.
We've been
You get
blessed.
beat up, literally.
So Reggie, you come back, you win a second world championship. All right. Then you get another world championship. Tell me the story of going it, because I know the story, but this is incredible to win 3 world championships. I fought for one. First of all, getting 3 world championships in the political game is tough.
It's real tough.
They want you to sign your life away. They want you to fight for no money sometimes, just all kinds. Then you got judges, but you win 2 world championships. Then you get a third one. Who was your third one?
And let me also bring you up to speed. My 3rd world title was my last fight in 2008. And once again, I get a phone call to fight Glenn Johnson. We signed a deal. He knocked out Roy Jones, Glenn Johnson. So we signed a deal.
Roy Jones is one of the great ones.
Oh, he's the greatest of our era.
Knock him out.
Yeah. He knocked Glenn Johnson knocked out Roy in a fight, and this after Tarver had knocked him out. But check this out. So we get a call to fight him, and then everything went well. We signed it, and then he pulled out because he get another fight that's making more money, and I understand it's business. And he pulled up. So what we did was, what I did, I called the late Julio Gonzalez, who was a former world champion. He beat the guy in Russia, and I knew Gonzalez because when I lived in California, he and I used to spar each other. So I called Gonzalez. I said, Gonzalez. Well, I called his coach first and got his number. And when I called Gonzalez, I said, hey, how you doing? I said, listen, man, we got a fight coming up, and I wanted to know if you wanted to fight. And he said, oh, yeah, man, when is the date? I say, and he said, well, who I'm going to fight? I said, you going to fight me? He said, oh, wait, man, I don't want Reggie. Come on, man. I say, man, it's business. I say, we gonna
Interesting
fight.
Conversation to have.
And hey, the late Julio Gonzalez he beat the guy in Russia. That I went over there to talk to his manager to fight, but they wouldn't fight me. But he beat the guy in Russia in his backyard, so he can fight.
He's the real deal.
Beat him, yeah, he's the real deal. So we agreed to fight each other, and that was my last fight, and it was for a world title, and fighting a former also world champion was my last fight. And even after that fight, I tried to put stuff together, but somebody spoke to me and said, man, just
go out on top.
Yeah, you go out on top and just leave it alone. Don't put your, think about it. All I've accomplished, all the places I've been, and I got my faculties. I'm healthy.
Yeah, that's a blessing, and like you said, some people don't have.
The only thing I lost with boxing, watch this. It's a joke.
That's good. You had me. I'm like, oh man, all right, it's coming.
You like this shit?
I was waiting for the sucker to go flying across the room.
You waiting to hear that pop out?
I was waiting.
Click. Nah.
So I want to tell a little bit more about him. One of the things I admire about Reggie, we've been great friends ever since he was 10 and I was 22, I guess, or you were 12.
He never was my friend. He's my big brother.
That's
There you
it.
go.
There you go.
That's it. But one of the things I've admired is that a lot of times in boxing, there's what we call mismatches.
Yeah.
And we've all fought some mismatch, but at some point we want to see them get out of the way. In my boxing card that we have promoted, one of the things that made me feel wonderful is that Reggie Johnson come to me and said, "Your guys are fighting real fights. You're not fighting pugs. You're not fighting easy wins." And
No tomato cans.
and I want to say that he's not ever had a life of fighting tomato cans. He's not. All of us have fought him at some point in time, but he didn't go to that. And
normally you start off that way. You get a couple of fights to get a person's
It's like a
heart
strategy.
and his mindset right. Yeah, first fought 5, 6 fights or something like that. But after that, you got to start testing that guy.
Gotta push it.
Yeah.
We have a lot of stories. We're running out of time right now, but we won't tell this one. Maybe we'll do it again. But one time, okay, I will tell this one. And then I'm going to tell one, and then the other one I won't. So I had retired from boxing, and I had not fought in several years, and I've got my daughter, and I'm thinking about coming back, and I'm going to the gym.
Tell him how old your daughter was then and how old she is now.
And she's
Back
what,
then she
30,
was-
40 now.
But back
And
then she had to be about 5, huh? 6?
5,
6 or
five
something.
or
Okay, yeah.
no, 4 or 5,
Yeah,
maybe 4 or 5. Yeah.
I remember that.
So, so my daughter Tessa, and so we go to the gym, and his sparring didn't show up, his boxing, and so he needed sparring. I think you were ahead of.
And this during the time Termite was making a comeback.
I was making a comeback.
Yeah.
Had not started sparring, but so I said, sure, I'll get in there. And I'm still mad at him for this too. I want to get real mad on this. Anyway, so we're in the ring sparring, and he cracked me in my nose, and he broke my nose, and it literally went over to the side. And so I go back, and the late great Mr. Goodall, I come back to the corner. And
We
goes,
had blood too.
Oh, I had blood.
Blood
I had
everywhere.
white shorts on.
Yeah.
And there was blood everywhere on my white. Blood all over my chest. Blood all over my. And I was upset. And Mr. Goodall said, "Termite, we better stop this." I said, No. And so we go out there, and the harder I fight, the harder he fights. Well, we get through, and I've got my pants are just bloody, and my white shorts. And so I get out of the ring, and my daughter, that was the first time she really got to see me
This is
spar.
funny right here.
And so I went over there to talk to her and tell her Daddy was okay. And she goes, "Wow, Daddy, you kicked his butt."
Wonder what she saw.
And that's what I'm thinking. Who did you see? It wasn't
Wanna see
me.
the eyes.
she had to be 5 or 6 then, right?
Yeah.
5, yeah.
Yeah,
Something
yeah,
like that.
5
I
or 6
remember
maybe.
Live
Yeah.
to the eyes of a child.
that. Yeah.
And but little girls, Daddy's always
Of
the,
course, they're hero, no matter what.
And
Even when
who
it's
that-
covered in blood.
Who that pop your nose back?
Oh,
You got it
Mr.
straight.
Goodall.
It
We're
must-
sitting there. After he cracked it, they wanted me to stop it, and I said no.
Yeah.
And Mr. Goodall goes in there and he grabs that and he goes
Click.
and it goes click.
Yeah.
And it pops back in and we start sparring again.
Yeah.
And but Reggie and I, as we're closing out today, I told you this. We're gonna have to do this again because he's
Right.
got so many stories. But Reggie has been a man of his word ever since I've known him. He has stood up for what he believes. He takes a stand. He has always taken a stand, even in the boxing world where people don't do that. Reggie Johnson has taken a stand for what is right and what is wrong. And Reggie, I'm just telling you here in front of everybody, I appreciate what you stand for, and we'll close it out with this. He's still helping people. You help Miss Brenda. We go to something that
And I
He
know
introduced me. He introduced me to me.
I know you retired from boxing, but you're doing some other things. So why don't we tell a little bit about that?
Well,
And where can people follow you? What things are you involved in
I'm
these days?
on Facebook and Instagram and all that. Just put Reggie Johnson or Reggie Sweet Johnson, it'll come up. But when he say helping people, this is, I had people help me. If it wasn't for the late Mr. James Carter, if it wasn't for the Salvation Army Boys Club, we wouldn't be here interviewing Reggie Sweet Johnson.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Termite and Mr, you wouldn't be interviewing Reggie Sweet Johnson. You know, so
Those are the kind of things we want to emphasize. People, they could be making an impact in other people's lives.
right.
Oh, yeah.
They might seem small,
Yeah, absolutely.
but just like it's kind of turned you into
And
what
see,
you are.
and see, it's whenever Termite, we do this, and he tell the story about his nose, and then just tell our, I mean, but like, man, he's up there like with Ali with me. This is the man that inspired me. You know, I'm skipping school. You know, my mama would have known that I would have been getting with a,
Right.
whooped with a stitching card. But I'm skipping school to go down here with this man because, you know, he.
And it's an inspiration.
Yeah. He inspired me. Just, you know, talk to me, and, you know, I'm in there shadow boxing. He'll grab, no. You need to put this foot down here. You know, So, man, you know, it's all about helping people, man.
I agree.
Communicating with people, and when you, especially when somebody doing what you're doing, and you can just like, man, look at this. He's here every day. This guy loves this. I mean, how can you not invest time and whatever that person needs to help him accomplish what he's setting out to do when it's positive? Now, we wouldn't do that for no guy that's selling dope or weed. I mean, hey, man, I'm well, man, you're doing a good job. I'm gonna help you wrap that weed. No, brother, no, we don't mess with weed. Yeah, so, you know, you get what I'm saying. Yeah,
you want to encourage the right thing, direction.
If somebody doing something positive, yeah, man, you want to reach out and help that person.
I think we all owe it to our fellow man.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
To do that.
Absolutely. And Ali played a big role. Termite played a big role. The late Curtis Coates, who they hired to train me when I turned pro at 17, and, you know, and then there's Chato. When I moved to California, you know, he passed away, and his son is the one who trained Andy Ruiz to become the first Mexican heavyweight world champion. His son was boxing. I think his son had about 4 or 5 pro fights, but then his son liked the training. He said, "No, I don't like this getting hit. I want to train."
Yeah, I want to train.
And his dad taught him all that. As a matter of fact, like I said, Andy Ruiz became the first Mexican heavyweight champion, and this young man that's not even 40 years old trained this man to become the first Mexican heavyweight world champion.
These are all inspirations.
Yeah.
We do need to have you on again.
Okay.
To wrap it up, what kind of advice would you give to young men or young ladies out there that are looking at you, they're following your story, they're going to follow you on Facebook, Reggie Johnson, on Instagram, that admire you? What would you tell them to inspire them for whatever obstacles people might be going through?
Well, like I said out the gate, if you can find something that you love to do, it's not work. I mean, it's something out there for everybody. You just got to reach out and find what you love to do. Like I said, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't put nothing foreign in my body. And the most important thing is, I always say this, I tell everybody, not only young kids, but everybody, you're only as strong as the people you surround yourself with.
I believe that.
Well said.
Yeah,
That's a very good note to end it on.
Yeah,
man, and I hang out with people that are positive, people that got their life in order. Now, that don't mean that I don't go hang out with people trying to get them to become that.
Yeah.
Like, even the people up under the bridge, I speak and talk to them. I go, "Hey, man, you home? You want?" Hey, I had one guy not too long ago. I said, "Well, come on, man. I'll take y'all. You know, up under the bridge. Come on, man. We can go to the Jack in the Box down here. Don't you know one of the guys talking about? Nah, that's all right, man. Well, man, you're not hungry. You want money for drugs.
Unfortunately.
I don't do drugs. What? I don't invest in drugs. Yeah.
And that's where you have to discern.
That's right.
Discern where you invest your time.
Right, that's right.
In certain people.
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate you have to do that.
Absolutely, man.
Well, Reggie Johnson has invested his time very well in the boxing game. He's taken a stand, which everybody out there, you got to take a stand for something. Whether it be wrong or right, you're going to stand for something. Reggie, in my books, has always stood for the good things and has been willing to take a stand to everybody for the right thing, and he's still taking a stand, helping people. So Reggie, till the next time that I'm gonna let you close this out.
We like to close it out. We like to say life definitely throws punches at you, so you got to keep your guard up.
Yeah.
Close out our show.
Absolutely.
Keep your guard up.
We got to teach Reggie Johnson.
Thanks for sharing your platform with me.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming.